I hope everybody's doing okay tonight. I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded any content in a long time. For the past week or so, I've been feeling rather sick, and my health was on a decline for about a week. But but for the most part, I'm doing better now. I should have part 9 of my main series out in the next day or two. But I wanted to pivot off that for a few minutes and talk about a problem that's been in this area for about at least 60, 70 years now, but growing at a tremendous rate. It's already hit its highest growing point at the fastest rate because it's pretty much everywhere. And from my knowledge, it's even made its way into the school system now, and that's transcendental meditation um, combined with yoga, because typically you can't really split the two apart. The transcendental meditation is part of the yoga, and a lot of people don't understand what's wrong with either. So let's start with the yoga. The average person thinks that yoga is nothing but stretching your body and trying to just put yourself in a calm state, become more flexible, increase your muscles. And don't get me wrong, it is important to stretch the human body. I stretch every day, but there's multiple ways to do it without yoga, and it's been proven that it's just as effective. But yet you always hear people say, "Oh, I can't quit yoga because it's the only thing that can get me to exercise. It's the only thing that can get me to stretch. It's the only thing that can get me active." And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because yoga is spiritual. You cannot separate the spiritual part of yoga from the exercise part. The religion, yoga is part of the Hindu religion. The word yoga is Hindu. It means to yoke yourselves together with something, because what people don't realize is that all these different poses they're made to honor all the different um, main gods in the Hindu pantheon. Hinduism has over 330 million gods that they have deified, but they obviously have their main pantheon. The main ones they hear about is like Krishna, Shiva, Hare Krishna, Kali, ones like that, or Brahman is the top one, the pantheon. Um, and if you take a look at the majority of the poses, a lot of them either seem kind of sexual, or they seem to mimic a serpent, and a lot of them require holding still these poses for a certain amount of time. And that's actually the reason behind that is actually to prepare the body for death, for the next reincarnation. Because the whole goal of doing all this, well, there's a few goals, but one of them is to achieve a state of being called moksha. And when the person achieves moksha, they become one with Brahman and transcend a physical being. And they believe that their next reincarnation, they'll be able to be their own god. Or if you talk to some New Age people, they'll believe that they can become an ascended master or something similar to the like. Um, Now the other person yoga, and the the main type of yoga that people do that actually understand what they're doing, because you have the type of people that will just take a yoga class at like a sportsplex or something and not really understand what they're doing, and usually the instructor won't fully understand it. Then you have the actual yoga studio where you'll go and you'll see idols all over the place, candles lit, incense, stuff like that. And the goal with this yoga is called Kundalini yoga, and if you're actually seriously into it, then this is the yoga that you do, and it's all centered around the belief of the Kundalini serpent, which is the Hindu word for a snake, specifically a cobra, but that the type doesn't exactly matter. What matters is every time you open one of your seven chakra gates that they believe in Hinduism, which they believe the serpent um is resting coiled at the root chakra, um which is which is around the tailbone of the human body, and the fact that came over here. There's been a slow obsession with perverted guys having an obsession with the elimination part of the body. It makes sense because that's where the first chakra gate starts at. Same um with the sheet with the diagrams of the she charts and key charts to do with martial arts with the Zen, because in a lot of Buddhism there's four gates, but the Zen marks all start at the same area. And when you go to different countries, they'll have different names for this energy. Like India calls this energy prana, China calls it chi, Japan calls it ki, Egypt calls it ka, and ba. Judaism calls it ruach. All similar, just different principles. But the chakra gates are pretty much what people is used for yoga. And the goal is for the Kundalini yoga is for it to slowly go up, and each time a gate opens up, it goes further up the 33 vertebrae of the back, because that's what it's based off of. Then the third one opens, goes further up the 33 vertebrae. Fourth one opens, goes further up. And when the fifth one opens, it's completed the 33 vertebrae. Then when the sixth one opens is when you're really in trouble, because that's when the Kundalini has control over the pineal gland, which is the little piece that's shaped like a pine cone that you see in the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. That's the little thing in our brain. And I completely condone the pineal gland as being a Christian myself, because I believe that's a completely crucial part into unlocking the human potential if we do it the right way. And the wrong way, which is what the Satanists use, is the Kundalini yoga or other means that are far darker. Because I assure you, everybody, all the Satanists that claims to have psychic powers, they're absolutely using the pineal gland by awakening it in a satanic way. I have an old video about how the toothpaste corresponds with it. The fluoride in the toothpaste was never made to help teeth. It was made to calcify the pineal gland, and it's up to the individual if you're gonna use that type of toothpaste. I don't. I haven't in a very long time, and I don't regret it. My teeth was always trying to have problems before that anyways, and it's stayed the same. Um, then when the serpent has full control, it goes up into the crown chakra. Which, yes, I do believe in the crown as well. I don't believe in the specific chakra, but I do fully believe in the power of the crown. I've had people that I've shown it to, and shown them how to feel that energy source of the body, and it's pretty easy. So the pineal gland is what helps us acquire the full potential of the human mind. The crown helps us feel the spiritual realm that's that's right above us, yet so far at the same time. But when the Kundalini gets up to there, it has full control, and while deliverance is possible, it's unfortunately it's very rare. Most of these people usually die at a young age or are miserable for their entire life. And so how to get over here? Well, first we can bring it back to Aleister Crowley. In his books, he one of his commandments for his disciples is to practice all forms of yoga, and in his most exclusive magical order, the AA, um, the silver, which translates to Silver Star. One of the requirements was yoga. There were specific types that was required, but that's not really important. What's important is that at the highest level of this stuff, you find yoga. And but who popularized it over here was actually the satanic well now it sounds weird to call it rock, but the satanic rock band, the Beatles, brought it over here. They went over to India and got the Maharishi Mahayogi, and that was the guru. He taught them the transcendental meditation, and then they pretty much ran with it like their religion. And they also brought the yoga over here, and that's what slowly started to make it mainstream. And now, in a medium-sized town like where I live, um, there's about 15 in a town that doesn't even have. I don't even think has 50,000 population. Um, Now let's talk about the transcendental meditation for a minute after we finish up about the satanic rock group the Beatles. Now a lot of people think that it's a pretty innocent thing, but if you look up videos of John Lennon saying the Beatles were bigger than Jesus Christ, and you had a lot of people riot at the time and burn all their Beatles merchandise and so on. Then later you had John Lennon, and in his final interview, say that the whole Beatles philosophy was "do what thou wilt," which was which which was the main point of the book of the law. Do what thou wilt, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. From what A. Watts spoke to Crowley after they saw the stela revealing at the museum in Cairo. And then shortly after that, when he had his last interview, he was bang put down by a radical fundamentalist Christian, and I can't say I don't have mercy on somebody that's most likely burning, but you get what's coming to you. All right, now let's get into what is TM, transcendental meditation, and what is exactly wrong with it, because the Bible does specifically say to meditate, but TM meditation and biblical meditation is very different. Biblical meditation is very simple. It's to basically just think about something. It's just a simple idea of thinking. There's I guess if you want to, you could shut your eyes, but it's not turning off all your senses, emptying out your mind. And why is the TM meditation dangerous? It's dangerous because when you empty out your mind, that's how all the demons are able to get in. When there's nothing there protecting it, then you're just allowing it to become pretty much just like a vortex, just like a vortex that's sucking in anything and everything around you that's trying to come in, including these very evil and powerful false deities. And they, even though they seem like they're living in peace and happy, most of these people that's into yoga and are yoga instructors, they're really miserable people, from if you actually listen to the accounts of people that got out of it. And also something that's worth bringing up. Most people have seen the famous painting of Baphomet by Eliphas Levi. And you see that Baphomet is sitting on the world in the lotus position, the most popular position in yoga. And also, before I close this, let's get to the mantras and the mudras. The mudras is obviously the things that you do with your fingers. I'm not gonna completely do it, but just all like how those old pictures of Jesus that were made blasphemy. People don't realize that I'm holding up like two fingers, doing specific hand gestures. Those are called the mudras. Um, and the mantras is when you make certain sounds. And I don't really want to do them either, but just like the Om and just stuff like that. Obviously different yoga has different things, or it can be repeated words like affirmations that you do. And also, this is worth mentioning. I know the average Christian will hear about the book of Adam and Eve, and unfortunately they'll just throw it away like garbage. But I believe that it's inspired scripture. I believe that we found it for a reason. The important part isn't being able to prove the author. It's if God wanted us to find the manuscript. That's what people kind of just look over. And there's a certain part in it, and I think it might be like chapter 14. I know it's in the early double digits. It's when the serpent tries to murder Adam and Eve by basically wrapping themselves around them and squeezing them to death. Out of anger, God throws the serpent, and he ends up in India. And I know at this time there was no population on India because this was, I think, like less than 10 days after the expulsion from the Garden of Eden, maybe slightly more, but that does not mean that in between the time that the serpent stayed over there, that he could not have left his mark on India to make people have these false ideas. It could have been him that created some of those idols, because when you go over to India, it's an unbelievable amount of idols to do with serpents, other animals too, but serpents are the main thing over there. Like the area of Asia and China and Japan and Korea too, but mostly India. India is all about worshiping the snake, and I think it's very possible that in that short period of time that he somehow planted his seed there to make the people that finally took residence in India automatically be attracted to the snake, because Hinduism is the world's oldest religion. Um, their so-called holy book, the Bhagavad Gita, um, does predate um a lot of scripture. I'm not gonna say all of it because some of it, like Job, I believe was wrote before, and a lot of Moses' stories was wrote before, but it was it was recopied every 100 years in Hebrew tradition. Every book was, especially Daniel. Daniel was highly preserved. It was found over and over and over again in the source of Quran, um during the Dead Sea Scrolls findings. I am gonna end it here. I don't really have much more to say about the yoga or the transcendental meditation that I can think of at the moment. Um, I'll probably end up covering it more in unrelated videos, but as a topic comes up, I'll touch on it here and there. Have a good rest of the night.